I'm just going to talk about YouTube. So, I am a longtime YouTube user. You can see I don't have a lot of subscribers. I've never really focused on building my subscriber count. And so you can legitimately say, well, what do you understand about YouTube? What I do understand, interestingly, is that I have worked in the tech industry and I have worked in tech ethics, and particularly around AI and social media for the last several years. I understand a lot about what the drivers are for the algorithm. And the reason that I have never succeeded is that there has been I've made a deliberate choice to keep myself relatively obscure so that I could test out ideas without being overwhelmed by the possibility of visibility in places I didn't want to have to defend myself or, pissing people off. So talking about YouTube and the algorithm, and when you're setting up yourself with videos, as you can tell, I do unscripted and I do unedited for the most part. Every now and then I cut out a section where I'm rambling in the middle, and sometimes I bother to cut off the parts where I'm looking over at the button and trying to figure out how to press stop or start. But mostly I just give you the thing as the raw item. And so for me, the question is, what are you using this for? Originally, I was vlogging, I was blogging, I was writing, and I was writing about my life, and I was doing it to find out how one could live. If you look at my old blog from the 2006 through 2012 or so, I was really doing a lot of staying home with the kids. I was doing the mommy blog thing. And I was doing sustainability. I was really market gardening. I was on the board of the farmers market. I worked at a tiny library. I was doing all of that, like Mother Earth, escape the city, leave the corporate rat race stuff. And I tested it out. And after a while, I found that I wasn't particularly happy with it. Now, the funny thing that just happened is that while I was talking about whether I edit or not, somebody came in my front door that I wasn't expecting, and so I don't remember what I was talking about 10 minutes ago. We're going to have a pause. So, we're going to regroup, and I'm going to say, as I was talking about blogging, and I was talking about vlogging, and vlogging is different from making content. Vlogging is this, like, coming into the world and talking about what you see or what you perceive. And so for me, the question of how do you use YouTube, I've been watching all kinds. I have a YouTube training playlist that I've been working through, and they talk about editing approaches, thumbnails, niching, do you use hashtags, how do you use each of those things? How long should you do your cuts? What do you do with music? How you do the editing and all of those things. And I was thinking, it depends what your goal is. Another entire thread, and I don't watch these ones. I watched a couple of them because I always want to know. I've got my fingers on the zeitgeist, especially because I was working in AI ethics. There's a huge amount of content right now on how to create faceless AI generated YouTube content. So YouTube, where you get an AI you just kind of give it a prompt and you get it to give you a script. And then you take the script and you feed it to another AI, and that generates slides or video or whatever. And then you feed it to an automation system, and that uploads it, and it, picks a decent, presumably, thumbnail. Only the problem is that is sort of the ultimate in commoditizing things, because it doesn't do anyone any good if you don't believe in what you're putting up. If you're just doing it to capture attention and capture space and capture money, you're doing a disservice to yourself and ideas and the world, unless that's your only reason for being here. And it also is sort of the ultimate competitive space, because anything that can be generated by an automation system, it's going to be a matter of weeks or months, or weeks or months. It's not going to be years before you're going to be outcompeted, and we're just going to be drowning in a sea of AI generated mediocre content. So that one aside, the other question is, are you doing this to make sense of the world? Are you doing it to build an audience? Are you doing it to promote a business? Are you doing it in service of a set of ideas, or are you doing it in service of a set of people? And each of those is going to have a slightly different approach. If you're doing something to find out what's true, if you're capturing your ideas and your thoughts and you're evolving the process, like I did for many, many years, it doesn't really matter what you do for promotion. You don't have to put thumbnails up. I didn't want a lot of strangers to come and watch my videos. I wanted to put them out into the world so that they were available in case the right people came along, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't that comfortable with visibility in a way that I wanted to attract people to it. So I made the videos and I put them out in the world, and I said, Godspeed, tiny videos, good luck. And then that's all I did with them. So, I mean, that's a thing. I have a record of my ideas and thinking from even 13 years ago, which is, that's fun and that's great, but it did not do service to the ideas, and it didn't provide service to the people who needed the ideas, because I didn't also promote them or make them findable. So I really want to talk about the ideas and the people, and then I'll talk about if you've got a business, because the best strategy for monetizing your work and your ideas is to provide a service directly, or a product. Products and services are very blurry these days. Provide something directly to people who need it, and they give you money in exchange. This providing content so that there's advertising, so that more and more people will see it, so that you get money in this indirect route, is a challenging way to actually achieve the exchange of value, so that the money you get isn't from, hey, that was really useful. It was from, hey, you kept my attention long enough that an advertiser thought I was worth showing something to. So if you want to do YouTube that way, I watch lots and lots of wonderful creators, and I'm very grateful, and I've never bought anything from them, and they have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, and they get money that way. We can't all do that. There's not enough human beings in the world, and there's not enough hours in the day for everybody to spend their lives creating content and consuming content. We need to do other things as well. So the more direct route to money, the more direct route to money through YouTube or any of the other social media channels is to say, hey, I do this. This is evidence of how well I do this thing. Here's how you can give me money in exchange, and I can do that thing for you directly, or I can help you do that thing. So that's the second approach. That is in service of the business. You don't need millions of followers. You need a few hundred or a few thousand who are committed enough. You need that 1,000 true fans, right? And then you have a grown-up income. Yay! We like having a grown-up income because it means we don't have to sell our souls. Woo! Next, you can be in service to the ideas. And so if you're in service to the ideas and you don't need it to be money in exchange for the ideas, you've got some other really decent source of income, you've got, books, you've got passive income, you've got a job you actually don't hate, then creating content, doing interviews, making things that are really well edited and getting people to watch them all the way from the beginning to the end is in service of the storytelling. And then you're going to need to do the more sophisticated editing. You're going to need to optimize your thumbnail, the thing. You're going to optimize the thing. So If you're in service of the ideas and you're telling this story and you want the idea to be carried all the way from beginning to end, and thinking about Philosophy Tube. Holy moly, Philosophy Tube. Such interesting, fascinating ideas. Okay, so you can do this really high production value thing, and then this idea is served. And then you're not vlogging, you're not blogging, you're not promoting something outside. You're trying to get people to do the thing in and of itself. And it's like making documentaries. It's like doing storytelling. It's like doing theater. And so then you're using YouTube as a medium for an art form. And then you need to get into all of those most sophisticated things. And the last thing is that you can be in service to people. And in that case, there's like a gentle touch. Your service at that point, you absolutely want them to get the point. So you're sharing and exchanging and offering. And also providing ways for them to find you. So that's maybe when you optimize for search engine finding. You also are going to put those things somewhere else. You're going to promote them in other channels. And then they're available for people to discover them. So that's a different focus. In that case, what you need to do is focus your efforts on getting your stuff in front of the right people. So it's rather than focusing on getting people through the thread of the idea from the beginning to the end, it's getting the right people to have the thing. And so you're going to use a slightly different emphasis in each of those cases. And I think that's what I wanted to say about how you use YouTube. If we think of YouTube as a medium, the same way we do writing, like it's one way to communicate with other human beings. It's not a thing in and of itself. It's a medium. We could do this by television. We could do it by writing. It used to be newspaper articles. Could be something like a column in a newspaper or a magazine. It could be art. It could be theater. And this is an opportunity for all of us to really, like, it's got you in the name. So it gives us a chance to have this tremendous diversity. And if we're focused on the algorithm, it's going to flatten out that diversity. And I want this to be a place where people genuinely create art in service of one another, in service of ideas, in service of their businesses, but their businesses also are in service of ideas or one another. So that's it. The fastest way to monetize a YouTube channel is to use it to get audience, to exchange real value directly with people. And then you're going to edit differently. That's my insight into YouTube with my very tiny channel.